In episode 163 of the Love in Lebanon podcast, we chat about a variety of different topics with Boone County Solid Waste Management District Executive Director Jennifer Lawrence. Earth Day was yesterday, but there are still events going on right now. Tox Drop is this weekend. Find out what toxic items you can drop off free of charge and which ones that'll cost you. We also recap this year's Citywide cleanup event and pay tribute to Jerry Erskine, the man who began the effort 13 years ago. Episode 163 of the Love in Lebanon podcast starts now.
Welcome to the Love in Lebanon podcast, highlighting all the great things happening in Lebanon, Indiana. Have an idea for an episode? Send an email to loveinlebanon@lebanon.in.gov.
Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 163 of the Love in Lebanon podcast. I'm Joe LePage, and I am the Community Development Director for the City of Lebanon. Quite timely, we've got our guest today. She is making the rounds. She's on What's Up Boone County. She's here with us on the pod for today. Jennifer Lawrence, you are a busy young lady going around and talking all great things happening around our community that you have a role that you're playing in. Happy to have you here on the podcast.
Yes. First of all, happy Earth Day. I think we might be a day late, but that's okay because we celebrate all week. We celebrate all month. And here at the Solid Waste District, we celebrate all year long.
You live it. You live it. You breathe it. And everybody, truth be told, we are recording this on Earth Day, the 22nd, to air on the 23rd. And so, as Jennifer said, we're recording on Earth Day, but this thing has ripple effects that you guys have been laying out. And this has really kept you busy with all the great things that are happening throughout the community. Can you kind of fill us in on all the festivities Earth Day related that are still maybe going on?
We love Earth Day. Like I said, we're celebrating all month long. Some things that everybody can participate. It's not too late. You can visit any of your local libraries throughout Boone County, and you can pick up a reusable book tote. So, we teach reduce, reuse, recycle in that order. Everybody likes to jump to recycling, which we love, but we want to reduce and reuse first. So get those reusable book totes while supplies last at all Boone County libraries. Some other things we've been participating in. Garden Fest is over with Boone County Master Gardeners, but we were there that day passing out some education, really focusing on composting. So another version of recycling. Then we've got a new education and outreach coordinator on staff with us. Her name is Amelia Braga. She's wonderful. Very excited to pass on some education. So we've got lots of things at local libraries. She's did a school program this morning. She'll be at Zionsville's Green Fest this Saturday. And then we've done some litter cleanups. We did a post-eclipse cleanup because, we had a few people in town that day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then we just had our big spring cleanup last week. So, and then we have our Tox Drop coming up this weekend as well. So we've been busy.
Man, you are not busy enough, I don't think. I don't think you have enough going on.
I tend to twiddle my thumbs and I think up something else to do. So
yeah, Sudoku, a lot of that, sure, whatever. But I mean, it really does. You guys really cover all bases when it comes to really taking care of our environment, and you guys hit it soup to nuts. How important is that to be able to, like you mentioned, reduce, reuse, recycle, and really pushing all three and creating a firm foundation and not jumping right there to the end of the recycling portion?
Yeah, and even though we're not a facility so much where you can bring things directly to us on an everyday basis, we really act as a resource for all Boone County residents that if you're cleaning out your garage, you're cleaning out grandma's house, okay, what do I do with these things? So we focus on the proper disposal and in many cases, and then try to give avenues for recycling and filling in those gaps. So communities that may not have recycling opportunities, that's where the Solid Waste District pops in, and we try to fill those gaps. And then people like the City of Lebanon, who we have curbside available here. We also have the Department of Public Works, who offer a routine drop-off spot for recycling. We just help to really educate how to do that properly. Keep your recycling clean, dry, and loose. That's our famous thing. Clean, rinse it out. Don't run it through the dishwasher. Just rinse it out. Dry. Don't try to recycle a half bottle of water. We don't want that. Yeah. Liquid's free. And then loose. Don't bag it. Keep it loose.
Don't bundle it. Nothing like that.
Nope. We know you have best intentions, but keep it loose. Clean, dry, and loose is the best thing for recycling right.
How's the education been going so far? Do you think people is it kind of one of those things where it's a moving target where you're always educating, always working? Or is it one of those things where you're starting to see some of the metrics maybe of people understanding, they're getting it and they're starting to do it a little bit better over the years?
Best way to answer that question, it ebbs and flows. There's good weeks when I pop my head in the recycling bin. I'm like, yeah, this
nailed it. Yes.
Broken down cardboard, clean empty bottles. It's all loose. Then there's other days I walk in and pop my head in the recycling bin, and it's something we call wish cycling, where I wish to recycle this, and I'm going to let somebody downstream worry about it. We don't want to do that. Let's keep it just basic, but it keeps me having a job. So my job is to put myself out of business, where we have all the best no litter and all the recycling happening. But yeah, I got a job for a few more years. That's
the wish cycling. That is hilarious. Everybody, we're talking with Jennifer Lawrence. She's the executive director of Boone County Solid Waste, the district here in Boone County. And you guys are coming, this is right off the heels or on the heels of the Citywide cleanup. And this is another great initiative that you guys are leading the charge and getting out there and doing, along with the Lebanon Rotary Club. How has this year gone? I saw a lot of great pictures, and they're on the graphic, everybody, for this podcast, so you can see them for yourself. But a lot of smiling faces, a lot of pink shirts this year. How is the turnout?
Pink shirts, I'm sure, brought them
That's
in.
what it is.
There's a lot of people fighting me on the pink shirts and a lot of people happy about the pink shirts. But it's the only safety color we hadn't done yet. So I believe this is our 13th year going in with the Lebanon the Cleanest City initiative. It's a vision, not a statement, I like to say. It's a work in progress. But this year we had 440 volunteers out cleaning up the streets. We did it over April 18th, 19th, and 20th. So that's the beauty of this cleanup. You create a team, and it's just very flexible. You clean up as long as you want. We have assigned areas, and the only reason we do that is just so we don't all end up in the same, everybody cleans up the courthouse square. It's pretty nice down there. Yeah. We want to get a little bit further out and clean up some litter. So we just make sure we don't overlap too much. But you can clean up anytime you want over those 3 days. And it's amazing, 440 volunteers. Our record's 450.
Oh,
the engineer side of me was, come on, one more team. But because I'm very numbers based, but and I have a competitive edge on me. But I was thrilled to have 440 people out there. Cleaning up litter, doing what they can, making a difference. And really, a lot of our teams are repeat teams. They enjoy going out. It was a little chilly over the weekend. Thursday, our kickoff, though, was beautiful. So it's just who picks your day. But it's a really flexible program, and every piece of litter that gets cleaned up is making a difference.
So 450 is a goal, but how have you seen it change over those decade-plus years of the cleanest city? When we first moved to town, it was one day, and you drove up and you picked up all your stuff and you cleaned that day, and that was it. How have you seen it kind of evolve and grow and change over the years?
Yeah, we used to focus on a Saturday morning cleanup. And then we got a few people on the committee who had families, myself being one. And I know Saturday mornings are a hot commodity. Yeah. So you're getting pulled in many different directions. So we said, how can we open this up? So that's where we kind of went to that Thursday, Friday, Saturday format, and it really kind of took off from there. We hit that 450 mark in 2019, right before, everybody knows, what we know, COVID. But we've been building back up since then. We even had cleanup teams in 2020. Now, we were much, much smaller, but we got out there, we socially distanced, and we still cleaned up. But we're building ourselves back up. Last year, we had over 400. We're just under that 450 mark, so I feel pretty confident in that next year we'll beat it.
Something tells me you will. But I just love how easily it is to customize how you want to do it. You can create your own team, so you're with people a lot of times and people you enjoy working with. You can pick out your area for the most part, and you can say, well, this part of town, this is where I want to be. That's just got to be a great selling point to be able to say, you see a spot you want to pick up litter in, you work with people that you want to, and you do it over the course of several days, and you're not held to one certain kind of time or day of the week. That's fantastic. It's got to be a selling point.
Yeah. And we have several different kinds of teams. We have businesses, even out in the business park, and they clean up a lot around their own area. We have families that clean up. We have school groups that clean up around their schools. And, it just builds that sense of community pride. And I'll tell you something, over the time, cleaning up, you see very repetitive type materials, right? and you just start noticing it more and more. You go clean it because you drive through 30 miles an hour. Things don't really pop out at you. We look pretty good. You start walking along that sidewalk, you start noticing this and that.
A little deeper in the weeds, you start to see some.
Yeah. Cigarette butts, that's a problem. And it's everywhere because Keep America Beautiful came out and actually did a litter study. The number one littered item in the United States is a cigarette butt. And they don't go away. Yeah. People think they do, but it takes much, much longer than they think. So, but once you kind of get out there, you see what's there, you're just more cognizant of it. And that's where word of mouth and encouraging your friends and family, like, hey, don't do that. Or did you see somebody else do that? It's really just trying to lead by example. We've tried to take this entire initiative and always have a positive turn to it. We don't want to attack anybody for maybe throwing a straw wrapper out their window. But we hand out Dairy Queen coupons and encourage you, hey, don't do that. That doesn't actually go anywhere or that doesn't dispose of properly. So we've always tried to take a positive spin and had great support from local businesses to do that.
The old adage of maybe a carrot instead of the stick, and carrot and sticks. There you go.
Absolutely.
Dairy Queen ice cream is always a positive incentive, and,
Yeah.
and Dairy Queen does a great job of partnering with you guys.
Yeah.
Now, in the graphic that you're going to see, everybody, there's going to be a gentleman that you'll see in these images, some of them anyway, who's not around, sadly, anymore for the cleanest city. This was such a big mission for Jerry Erskine, and sadly, this is the first year that he's no longer with us. Can you kind of talk about how his family still kind of kept the ball rolling and kept his memory going, and how this is really his legacy? This is something that you and he really worked towards more than a decade on this thing.
Yeah, Jerry Erskine, a wonderful Lebanon Rotarian for a very long time, very passionate, took a trip to Norway, saw how impeccably clean the streets were, and he decided he was going to do something about it. He was going to bring that idea back home, brought it to his Rotary Club and said, I want to make Lebanon the cleanest city. And if you've run into, had contact with Jerry, when he becomes passionate about something, he goes all in, and just say yes. So he got it going with the Lebanon Rotary Club, didn't stop there, recruited a wide variety of local, community leaders, and kind of took it from there. And he passed away. So this was the first year he wasn't on his golf cart, which I'm sure people had seen with his signs on it saying Lebanon the cleanest city. Yeah, we love the golf cart. But I'm happy to report his daughter was driving that golf cart this year. His family still had a team, and our pink shirts this year had on the back of them, underneath the big cleanup volunteer, had in memory of Jerry Erskine. And his wife, when she picked up the family's t-shirts this year, we kind of chuckled about him, and I showed her the back of the t-shirt, and I said, I think he'd be very happy. And she goes, I think he'd be tickled pink. So that was kind of perfect. And his son was a big part of the cleanup this year. Hachette Book Group, he works with them. So he cleaned up with his work and his family. And Hachette was actually one of the t-shirt sponsors. So the Erskine family is still deeply rooted in the cleanup effort.
What was that like for you I know you guys interact, especially during this time of year annually with the cleanup. What was it like to not have that guy that was the man on the golf cart, the man that kind of got this whole thing going? What was that like for you?
A few years ago, he decided he was, slowing down a little bit, like we all do. I've already started feeling it. But he decided he wanted to kind of pass that torch on, and he wanted me to a little bit lead the charge. I happily said yes. It fits right into my wheelhouse with the solid waste district. But Jerry wasn't far behind. He never, he was always right there giving me good encouragement, ideas. And if I needed somebody to go do something and I asked Jerry to do it, he was right there happily saying yes. So he was always right there. And you know what? I still felt him. When I see the golf cart, when I know he wasn't physically with us, but I felt his presence. So,
do you have a good Jerry story? Not to put you too much on the spot. Do you have one that sticks out?
Just there's so many. He's just always there, and that's where there's lots of idea people out there. But I can say with wholeheartedly that, Jerry was at every kickoff. He was at every this, and he brought his family in. He brought his friends in. And he got after you if you didn't. So there isn't just one story. I mean, he was just always, and even when maybe his physical self was restricting him back, he was the first to apologize and the first to try and send somebody in his steed. So yeah, there's not one, there's too many.
And one that sticks out to me, Jennifer, is I forget if it was a Rotary meeting or something that I was in attendance for, and they were talking about a neighborhood that needed some cleanup, or there was something that happened where, man, there's so much trash out, and it was, well, who can meet? And he would always lead the charge with stuff like that. It wasn't a point of finger and you go do. He was the one that was out there first. And you talked about his declining health. Even then, when it was golf cart, as that was the easiest way to get around. It was golf cart and grabber. He was out there with that thing, and that mission, and his health sadly got the best of him. But it didn't really slow him down because he really kept at it until the very end.
Very close to the end. Yeah. And I was very fortunate and blessed to have a good friendship with Jerry. Yeah. And, even visiting him towards those last bit, I made a promise that we would carry on. So, and I think that did get a smile out of him.
And kudos to you for doing just that. Everybody, we're talking with Jennifer Lawrence. She's the executive director of Boone County Solid Waste, the management district here in Boone County. Last thing, and we're getting ready for this weekend, Jennifer, the Tox Drop. Folks may be seeing that graphic on Facebook popping up, or see something in the paper or the radio about it. Can you kind of talk to us about what the Tox Drop is for those who have never done it? It's coming up this weekend, everybody. So if you got some of the items that Jennifer's going to talk about, this is the time to kind of get them close and be able to get rid of them.
Yeah. I had mentioned before that, we weren't a facility that accepts material. Well, 2 Saturdays of the year, yes, we are that facility. The solid waste district is going to be out at the Boone County Highway Department, just right there next door to the Boone County Fairgrounds. We all know where that's located. We'll be out there from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Collecting a wide variety of materials. And when we talk about household hazardous waste, what does that include? Your household cleaners, vehicle fluids, small propane tanks. We all have our gas grills. Some people have fire extinguishers and they finally have, expired. We need to dispose of those. The CFL bulbs, those are the little curly Q ones that were supposed to last forever, but maybe they don't. The oil stain, I bought too much. Of course, we go back to that reduce, reuse, recycle. We try to encourage you to buy only what you need, use up what you have, and then there is no waste. But we all have garages. We all have sheds that material has accumulated.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure we properly dispose of those. So those are the kinds of household hazardous waste we're taking. Certainly not limited to what I mentioned. And we do have a full list on our website at boonecountysolidwaste.com. Also that day, we'll be accepting electronics. And that is not everything with a cord, but anything that's really computer or associated with a computer, or anything with a television or associated with a television. Those are really the two big groupings of electronics.
Big tube TVs, it doesn't work anymore, and I can't get rid of this thing.
And everything is free of charge that day, with the exception of televisions. They are $20 cash per unit. And that's just because they're just so heavily, the way they have to be processed and taken apart and, shredded in some cases, and then properly recycled and properly disposed of after they are dismantled. That's where that fee comes into play. And then also at the Tox Drop, we'll be collecting tires. Now, we only do that in the spring, so this is a big collection event.
The time.
And there are some limits. You can bring in 4 vehicle or truck tires, and this is per primary residence. You can bring in 2 tractor tires. And I learned very quickly, there are some large tires out there. So we have a maximum of 54-inch outside diameter on those tractor tires. And then if you have a combination, we ask for 4 tire max with the combination. I'm 6 feet tall, and I was like, we don't have to put There were tires taller
Some
than
monsters.
myself.
Yeah,
So
there's some big ones out there,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Yeah, but so really household hazardous waste, electronics and tires will be out there on Saturday, April 27th from 9 to 2 at the Boone County Highway Department.
Fantastic. In the graphic I'm looking at, everybody, it says mercury thermometers. Like if you have you go through the garage and there's an old school mercury thermometer, you can get rid of that thing as well.
Yeah.
And if you need to throw it in Google Maps or wherever, everybody, 1955 Indianapolis Avenue in Lebanon for the Boone County Highway Department that Jennifer was talking about. But we know it's right along Indy Ave, right near the 4-H Fairgrounds is where the Highway Department is. And if someone listening to this podcast has never been, if there is a line, just be patient, right?
If there will be a line. there will be a line. But I will say it can be a bit scary when you pull in. But trust me, we work quickly. You're going to stay in your vehicle. We're going to get you in and out of there in 15 or 20 minutes. And I've seen that line backed up, but we'll get you in and out of there. You'll check in with either myself or someone else from the solid waste district, maybe the health department. But we'll check you in, make sure you're a Boone County resident. We only want our Boone County guys. Yeah. And then you're going to drive on through. There's a few stops. Like I said, tires, electronics, and then we've got our chemicals and our household hazardous waste. So it's just kind of a stop and go.
I love the way you guys have that laid out. It's not just you just stop and it's going to take forever. You just, depending on what you got, you stop at that little location and drop it off. And
we appreciate you loading it into your vehicle. So we're not even going to make you get out. We'll unload everything for you. So it's really a drive-through event. And like I said, we'll have you on your way quickly. So, come join us at the Boone County Highway Department.
There you go. Again, everybody, that's coming up this Saturday, April 27th from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Boone County Highway Department at 1955 Indianapolis Avenue in Lebanon. Jennifer, thanks so much for being here on the podcast. Really appreciate it. All the work that you guys do. I know it's a busy time all the time for you guys, but especially during the spring. So appreciate your time, and I know it's precious, but appreciate you being on the pod.
No, absolutely. We love it. We love what we do. We're passionate about it. And, if you have questions, visit BooneCountySolidWaste.com.
Awesome. Everybody, I'll put the link in the body of this podcast as well. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Love in Lebanon podcast. More episodes are coming your way soon. Take care.